What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Money Class. And I got some great information for you today, particularly for business owners, established and new business owners that are having trouble getting funding. You're not turning over every rock, and I'm about to tell you about one that you may not have thought about. So, first of all, congratulations for starting that business. Congratulations for taking the initiative to get that business started, or even just mapping out the idea and getting plans to start the business. But now you need some funding, right? You need some funding, and I'm going to help you get some funding. I'm about to give you a great resource. I want you to go to your computer, your laptop, your phone, whatever you're working on, and I want you to type in CDFI. A CDFI is a community development financial institution. And what it basically does is help with credit and financial services to underserved communities or underserved groups of people. So I'm talking Black, Latino, lower income, women-owned business, minorities. But hey, if you white and middle class, don't trip, because they don't discriminate. So you can get some of this money too. And it's going to be a lot easier than the bank. I'm going to highlight one CDFI, and I'm going to encourage you to search for CDFIs that serve your area that can help you further your business to the next level, further than where it is now. So the CDFI that I'm going to highlight is located in Chicago, and it's called Allies for Community Business. Let me tell you what you can get here. You can get funded anywhere from $500 to $100,000. And you don't need any minimum credit score. There is no credit score requirement. I know you're like, well, how in the heck are they going to give me funds? Like, if it was that easy, everybody would be getting it. Well, they are going to look at your credit, but they're not going to look at your credit score. It has no bearing on whether or not you'll get funded. So a couple things that I'm going to tell you about this particular CDFI, because they specialize in small business lending. So I'm talking to every business owner out there. You can get funding through an organization like this that focuses on small business lending. Now, what they do is they actually look at your credit, and they only look at one bureau. The bureau is TransUnion. And they're going to look at 4 aspects of your credit as opposed to looking at your credit score. So just throw your credit score out the window, whether it's good or bad, because I've sent people over to this organization that have had credit scores in the low 500s, and they got funded. So the first thing they're going to look at is they're going to look at your payment history. Typically, banks look at your payment history on your open trade lines for about 3 years. They're going to look at it for 1 year. Next, they're going to look and see if you've had bankruptcies. They're going to look back 2 years to see if there's been any bankruptcy filings on the personal side. Remember, you don't even have to have business credit at all. They're only looking at your TransUnion personal side. So they're going to see if you've had any Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 filings in the last 2 years. The next thing they're going to check and see is if you've had any collections or charge-offs in the last 2 years. But they're even lenient with that, because they're not going to hold it against you if it's under $500. And they're not going to hold it against you if it's medical related. And how many people out there have had trouble getting funded due to medical debt? Things that you couldn't control. You couldn't control that you got sick and you couldn't pay a hospital bill. They're not going to hold that against you. Lastly, they're going to look at how you're using the credit that you've already been given. Now, most banks, they're going to want you to be, 20%, 30% max. You can be up to 75% utilization, and you can still get funded. Let's dive a little bit deeper. Even if you are a startup business, brand new to where you have not made $1 yet, you have not sold one product, serviced one customer. As a startup, you can still get funded up to $12,500. And this isn't credit cards, guys. This is term loans, and they also have lines of credit too. So you can get, we're talking about cash for you to get equipment, working capital, advertising, marketing, whatever you need to do. They are not going to check it. They're just assuming that the purposes that you'll be using this money for will be business related. Now, what are you going to need to get this? Well, for one, you're going to need a business. You have to be an actual business. You're going to need to have your business registered in the state that you're operating in. You are going to have a business bank account, because since this is a business loan, it has to fund to a business bank account. And that's kind of the long and short of it. Now, what kind of financial documents are you going to need to provide? Well, it kind of goes in tiers, because even if you don't meet any of that criteria that I talked about with the credit utilization, charge-offs, collections, payment history, you could still get what's called a small credit builder loan that goes up to $2,500. I know that's not a lot of money, but if your situation is that wrecked financially and you can still get any funding, you winning, okay? Now, if you do meet those criteria, they're going to look at business and personal bank statements for 3 months. And that's it. That's how they're going to determine how much you can afford to repay. They're going to look at your ending balances and look at the debt that you're carrying and see how much of a monthly payment can you afford to make. The terms are 3 years. So for instance, $10,000 loan over 3 years, 9% interest is about $320 a month. So if you needed 10 grand, you'd have 3 years to pay it back. It'd be about $320 a month. So they'd be checking to see if your finances show that you can pay about $320 a month back using that example. Now, the homework that I'm going to give you is to go out and look for CDFIs that pertain to your business, that work your area, where you can actually get funded without having to have all of this stuff that only comes with being in business for a while. And that's what the banks want you to do. They want you to produce tax returns and things of that nature. And that means that you have to have been in business for a while. But if you are new, or if you're established and you just never really put your business infrastructure in place with your EIN and business bank account, maybe you only did it a year ago, but you've been operating for 5 years, you could get major funding with these guys, up to $100,000. I gave you a scenario to get where you would get up to $2,500, and then a scenario that you could get up to $25,000. In order to go above $25,000, up to $100,000, all you got to do is add in at least one tax return and a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. And now you can get up to $100,000. Remember, no credit score requirement. So if you're struggling with the credit, I just gave you the hack, the cheat code, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to still get funding for your business. Search for CDFIs in your area. They are all over the country, guys. There's lots of them. So check for CDFIs in your area and get you some of this money to be able to help your business go up the next rung on that ladder. That's all I got on this one, guys. Until next time, class dismissed.